Hey everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a comic book review show where we take books from the past week, recap, review them, let you know what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. We just got back from Baltimore Con just this past weekend. If you're unfamiliar with Baltimore Con, it is a Comic Con in Baltimore. But it's so much more than that. I really like this show.
Yes.
We go every year. We've been going since 2006.
Yeah.
And we have an amazing time. Huge host of creators. We got a chance to talk to amazing people, including people out there in the population. That's the nickname we have for people. ComicPOP, get it? And yeah, we got a chance to talk to a lot of great creators. I got a lot of great people. And just overall enjoyed the show. We even filmed an extra special episode of our Instagram/Facebook exclusive series on the cheap at the show. So if you go to Instagram.com/ComicPopOfficial or go to our Facebook page, which is also Facebook.com/ComicPopOfficial, you can find a little episode where we recommend a specific title, but more importantly, an exercise for you to try if you're interested in comic book collecting of any kind.
Yeah.
See any good trailers lately?
Yeah. I was really not expecting that.
No. Yeah, so the Bloodshot trailer dropped today, technically, 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's today.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, it was pretty dope. I'm surprised. Like, I was like, okay, Bloodshot. I never thought you'd ever make one of these, and yet here we are.
Right.
It's a lot of surprises. One is from Sony. Two, Bloodshot.
Yeah.
3, it's cool. You gotta watch the American trailer. The international trailer is a little meh, but the U.S. domestic trailer is the one that actually... And by the way, they both give away the entire story, which you knew from the beginning. It's like, lone hero...
I think I saw the American... I'm not sure which one I clicked on.
We saw the American one, and then I saw the international one when it came out.
Okay.
Again. You know, because they put up both of them at the same time. Right. But yeah, no, the American trailer is fun because it's got the time loop and everything like that. But if you haven't already, check out the Bloodshot trailer. I'm sure most of you probably have.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. Actually, in response to the Bloodshot trailer, I got a mysterious package that I'm going to open up here on the show. It has this very, very ominous-looking manila envelope here.
No manila envelope can be ominous.
Yeah, no. It says confidential.
It's a confidential envelope.
Yes.
I shouldn't look at it then.
No. It says it's from Project Rising Spirit. The subject is Bloodshot.
Oh, but it's been redacted.
Yeah, heavily by Black Bar. Next scheduled deployment, February 21st, 2020, which... I don't know. The abilities, billions of nanites flow through the subject's veins, granting him accelerated healing and rendering him virtually unkillable. Furthermore, the subject possesses superhuman strength and shape-shifting capabilities. The nanites allow the subject to communicate with technology. Strengths include a brilliant combat tactician, expert in hand-to-hand combat with all modern forms of weaponry. In short, the subject is the perfect weapon.
Oh.
Although there are some weaknesses, the subject's nanites require immense protein intake for energy. Additionally, the subject's memory implants render him easy to manipulate, but these false memories have the potential to backfire if not closely monitored and controlled. The origin is redacted, and from whom this is.
Oh.
Also redacted, though it is signed.
Well, somebody has to sign it.
I know.
No, it's not. The date in the file and the real name of the subject are redacted.
So, what else do we get here in this handy-dandy box? We also got this lanyard
pass!
And a QR code regarding Project Rising Spirit.
Which apparently you're part of.
I am. My name is on this
Are you
thing.
late for work?
I guess so. I guess I gotta go to Project Rising Spirit. We'll do the show first, but then I gotta go. And just for fun, hey, how about the definitive edition of the Bloodshot trade paperback, which you can get from Valiant Comics for about $25. By the way, you get a lot of stuff in here.
Excellent.
And it's all the new stuff. It's all the stuff from like the previous run of Valiant. Probably a ton of like really key stories that include the character. So if you're like, I kind of dig the trailer, I want to get into the character, this isn't a bad volume to pick up.
Yeah.
Maybe
seriously.
Yeah, we may need to use this in the future on our channel.
What?
So keep an eye out. But yeah, we got a couple of fun things. We also got one of these.
I actually like this a lot. I used it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well.
It's literally just a cord. But it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's a USB and it has a micro, it's a USB-C and a lightning cable on the other side.
Nice.
So it's like, doesn't matter. It's helping out everybody.
Yeah, I also have one.
What?
Yeah.
Give me that.
You can have it.
No, I'm kidding. I only need one. It has 2 different things on it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah, just it was a little bit of fun. We get these sometimes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Just thought I'd share it around.
No, that's very sweet. Honestly, though, I did enjoy the Bloodshot trailer.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it, I had this moment where I was just like, "Man, RoboCop wishes he was Bloodshot." And I'm not. And again, that's just to do with like the memory thing and like an organization trying to figure out how to kind of privatize this sort of thing. So,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just I mention it because it's happening, it's trending, so we'll talk about it. But yeah, from there, we wanted to mention that this show is actually sponsored not by Valiant.
No.
We just wanted to talk about it, but moreover, we wanted to say it's sponsored by you. Actually, out there, if you are watching the show live, you can use the super chats to ask a question, make a comment on this show, and for a couple of shekels, we'll do that for you. We'll read it here on the show. It's a way to help keep the lights on here on this side of the camera. So yeah, let's jump into it.
Let's do it. Oh my
Drew
goodness.
Chester says, my favorite comic book couple. Y'all are awesome. You are awesome as well, Drew. Thank you so much,
Thank
man.
you.
T&K Productions. Wow, it's my first time catching you live. Very
Hi.
surprised faces. Thank you very much, TK. T&K, welcome to the live show. And Silver Cricket says, do you think Disney's smart enough to have had an X-Men script prepared, or do you think they're starting from scratch? He's talking, of course, about the Disney Fox acquisition and the moving forward with the X-Men franchise in the MCU. I think that they were legally barred from working on it at all. I had always maintained that the Eternals production was a secret Trojan horse production of X-Men,
But-
and that they just literally changed all the names, and they put Eternals on the door and everything so that they could skirt the law. But I think that I think that they have loose ideas. My guess would be they probably have a direction that they want to go in, but they also don't want to hamstring whoever is going to be directing at least the first iteration. And of course with X-Men, you're not just going to get an X-Men movie. You're going to get all the other stuff that comes along with it. And of course if the X-Men comics are any indication, you could have anywhere between 2 to 7 different franchises going from the one. So, the person who's great at directing the X-Men movie might be terrible for a Deadpool movie or an X-Force movie or a Excalibur movie. The sky's the limit as far as the X-Men's concerned. So to say let's start with X-Men now, no. Let's leave it loose and open and see where they want to go with it, but at the very least have some kind of direction. Because the last thing you want is for them to just go, oh, I think we'll just maybe we'll make an X-Force movie, just see where it goes. No.
Yeah.
Have a plan. But what was it? John Saucer also says, hello. Hello, John.
Hello.
Price 8040 coincidentally just finished all of Morrison's X-Men run
Wow.
the night before Hickman's #1 came out. I realized, like Morrison, he doesn't do the meta BS. Yeah. I like Morrison. When he doesn't do the meta BS. I hear you, man.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. I mean, some of his run is definitely a critique of X-Men, so there's something to be said there. But, yeah, I don't blame you. I like Morrison when he's a little more grounded, but it's hard to find. And Joe D says, looking forward to meeting you guys this Saturday.
Yay.
Oh, what is Joe talking about? Well, Tiffany and I and our co-hosts Ben and Ethan will be at ZAP Comix in Wayne, New Jersey this Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
You go to our Facebook page, you can actually RSVP to the event. Or you can go to ZAP Comix' Facebook page and RSVP to their version of our event. Or you can just come.
It's fine. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, just come by. But yeah, 4 to 7, we'll be there. We're going to have posters and stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Are we doing something?
I don't know. I think we're going to shoot, maybe. We'll see.
Fantastic. I look forward to finding out.
Me too.
I think we should jump into some books.
I think you're right. I want to talk a little bit about Spider-Man from JJ Abrams and Henry Abrams and Sarah Pacelli. This is the second issue of the miniseries that was much hyped. It's horrible. Don't buy this book. Pass. Moving on. What do you read?
Why?
It's really boring and by the numbers. If you've ever seen it, like, if you've ever imagined a young Spider-Man or a Spider-Man's kid learning to be Spider-Man, if you saw Into the Spider-Verse, if you've ever read Renew Your Vows, or the Spider-Girl series, or House of M Spider-Man, or any number of other Spider-Man books, like, you got it. It's the same damn thing over and over again, and done by a lesser creator. Like somebody who isn't quite polished, who hasn't quite reached that level yet.
Okay.
So, don't waste your money. Issue 2 is where I was like, okay, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere.
And it didn't go anywhere you wanted it to go.
Yeah, just woof.
Okay.
So pass on that one. What about you? What'd you read?
I read Savage Sword of Conan.
Oh, Conan!
Written by Roy Thomas.
Oh, that's right. I remember you recommending
Alan
that.
Davis.
Yeah.
It's a return for these two to Conan. Savage Sword is the Conan book that basically, like, you know, they bring a team on and they tell a story, and then the arc ends, and then they go to another team to start the next arc, which is kind of cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just Tales of Conan, basically,
right?
In a way. Savage Sword specifically. Now, they might have actually done this in the other stories. I haven't noticed because I really don't usually read the credits page. I'll be honest. I just kind of blast through to get to.
Oh, the recap page.
Yeah, well, no, literally the credits page. Beneath the credits page is an editor's note in this issue that says this story takes place before the events of Robert E. Howard's *The People of the Black Circle*.
Wow! Like, so they were like, okay,
so,
no, this.
But again, that could have been in the other ones, and I just straight up, seriously though, usually I'm just like, get to the story. I want Conan. And
That's
this time,
a good point.
I don't know this. Like, I was like, oh
yeah,
look at that. So anyway, this one's called Dark Cavern, Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a different feel from the previous two writers. We had Jerry Duggan.
Yep.
And we had Jim Zub telling Conan stories. Now we have Alan Davis, who is or Roy Thomas, who is obviously been telling Conan stories for quite some time.
Yep.
But this definitely has a different feel to it. It is a much more like old school kind of Conan feel to it. So if you've been enjoying like the Aaron stuff, I hope you dig this as well, because it is a little different though.
Yeah.
It definitely covers the like Conan is a sword for sale and he is a thief. We start off, Conan is in like this like makeshift arena where he's basically battling with somebody and people around him are all taking bets, and you see that all happening throughout.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's all a big sham. Like, Conan had a mark and he knew this guy was rich, so like he's somebody in the audience who is there to basically convince that guy to bet against Conan.
Sure.
So Conan's like kind of like, oh no, like I tripped, I'm bad at this. Then all of a sudden like he just, you know, obviously like takes care of this guy. The dude's like, obviously you cheated, but whatever.
But I'm not gonna argue with you because you're a giant
Conan,
horrible
so
monster
it's fine.
man. Yeah.
When a woman and another man show up and she's just like, you're the guy I'm looking for, and like she had actually been recommended for the guy he killed.
Oh.
Like to hire him as like a bodyguard.
Okay.
And he's like, well, if you'd asked him maybe like yesterday, maybe things would be different for him, but as it is, like, what do you got?
Right.
And she basically tells the story of like how she's a noble person, but she kind of gave all that up. She sold her title off to gain funds to go on this expedition into the mountains to seek out her brother, who she assumes is dead but may not be. He got like this treasure map. He went out after it and he never came back.
Okay.
And Conan's like, and if you happen to find the treasure along the way, not so bad, right?
I'll scoop it up for you, yeah.
Well, no, but she's like, yeah.
Right.
And
I'm a treasure hunter, and maybe I'll find my brother too.
Right. Or if there is a brother, I don't know. We don't find out obviously in this first issue. But they trek on into the mountains. He hires her and mentions the fact that like there's another reason he's here too. He's talking to the other guy that she's hired, and he mentions that his other job basically, his passion, his hobby, is that he's a thief. And the guy's like, really? And he's like, but listen, I'm an honorable guy, so like even though I am a thief, I'm not going to steal the treasure from her, a person who has hired me. That's not how it works.
Okay.
I'll just trick you into obviously giving me a cut of it, as Conan always does.
Yeah.
So they come across these like folk who live in the mountains, these like sort of like hill folkian. Like, when I say hill folk, I mean like literally they live in the hills, and,
right?
Like, but that's it. They
yeah, not so much hills have eyes, but
no.
yeah.
No. I mean like literally that's just where they live, and they're very much like thieves and scoundrels and such, and not in the Han Solo way.
No, in the
Alibaba's
like 40 Thieves.
Kind of like in the way of like, you want to get through here, you better pay up,
mm-hmm.
and like a whole bunch of them like
swarm
around them, and like, they realize that they're like, hang on, like, let's just see where this goes. Conan calls the dude out, Pakim, who's in charge, and he's just like, yeah, no, this guy's fine, but like, here's all my list of like criteria of why I'm a badass, and like, maybe instead of just doing this, you guys should like rally up to the force that you could be and follow me instead. And the dude's like, what was this?
Yeah.
Back off. Like, so he challenges him, and like in their like law, like that guy's got to rally and like fight Conan, and he's like, yeah, but I'm not doing that. I don't know if you took a look at him, like Guns is not doing that.
Yeah.
So he has a couple of dudes who are like with him, and like Pakim sends him against Conan. They like net him. Conan slashes through the net. They hit Conan in the head with a rock, and like the rest of the guys there are like,
cheap.
But the dude, you have to fight him,
right?
And they're like, no.
Nah.
And they're like, but you have to. And he kills one of those guys. And they're like, you killed him. What are you doing? And he's like, and I'll do worse to all of you.
Yeah, because I don't want to fight Conan. I'll die.
Yes. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take this girl, because obviously she knows where the treasure is. Why else would you come in this mountain?
Right.
And she does. She saw the treasure map at one point. She burned it, and then she kept it. She memorized it. And Conan's like, yeah, that's smart, until someone finds out about that, and they torture you for it. So,
right.
Takes her and the other guy, and they
go
capture
off.
them, and off they go. They leave Conan with those dudes, and they're like, keep him here, tie him to a tree, nobody touch him, because, like, I'm gonna flay his skin off of him.
Sure.
I will flay him alive. It's gonna be great. And I'm like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Like I said, has this really kind of old school feel to it. Conan has zero respect for like anybody in this book, which to me I think is very like, it is Conanian of them, because like none of them prove themselves to be great warriors. I always find that to be the kind of common thread. Like if you're a warrior or there's some cleverness about you, Conan has respect for you.
Gotcha.
No one has earned Conan's respect in this.
No.
So I'm interested to see where the rest of this story goes, and I'm excited to experience some current Roy Thomas.
Totally.
Conan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sounds good to me. I guess we could talk about. Oh, so it's a recommendation.
There's
also like a thing in the back. Like there's like a Shadow of Vengeance story.
Well, this is part 12 of the novella that's been going on. So if you like Conan like books and you wanted more content, the way to get it would be in the back of the Conan issues. They have an ongoing novella that you can read. There's a few pages in the back of it.
Cool. Okay. I was just curious about that. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I read Absolute Carnage #4, which is the second to last issue of the series. This is, of course, written by Donny Cates with art by Ryan Stegman. Hulk Venom. He doesn't really do much in this book, which is not to be expected.
Right.
But that being said, the story is basically just we're getting to the end, and it's like the second to last chapter, so everything has to get really dense and dark. Carnage basically engages Venom Hulk, and he's thrilled about it.
Yeah.
And you're not sure why he's really excited about it. Meanwhile, Eddie decides to hero up. He asks Peter to watch over the boys. It's Normie and his son.
Yep.
Who doesn't know that Eddie's his father.
Yeah.
And so he grabs Cap's shield and like a electricity gauntlet.
Yep.
From the old jury members, if you remember your old 90s Venom comics. And so he goes up there and fights the hordes of Carnage. He more specifically engages with the doppelganger-ified version of Miles Morales, which of course this new version of Eddie Brock Venom has encountered in the past.
Right, and I think he feels badly.
He does,
because
Miles is a good guy and he knows him and stuff like
There's
that.
actually a moment leading up to that point
Yeah.
that I was like, I totally get leaving the last issue on the reveal of the Venom Hulk.
Yes.
I 100% get that. But since this is kind of an Eddie Brock story as much as it is a Carnage story, the moment where he says that he's going to pretend to be a hero for 10 minutes, I was like, that's a really powerful moment.
Agreed.
And I was like, that's almost where the last issue should have ended.
Yeah. I agree with that as well.
But again, I understand.
But nobody be talking about that.
There's a coolness factor to a wow,
actually
powerful,
emotionally satisfying moment.
Yeah, and I get it. You're trying to you're selling books.
Right.
I get it. But that moment, I was like, damn. That's great.
You actually have respect for Brock.
Yeah.
If you haven't already earned it.
Yeah.
So the reveal, of course, is that Maker was full of shit, as you could imagine. And the believe it or not,
Maker?
the evil Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe is a liar, and the machine he built to extract codices from infected people who used to wear symbiotes at some point or another actually don't destroy the codices; they actually store them. And so they figure that out, and that's a big reveal at the end of this issue.
My mind is blown.
I know
lied.
that he's
now,
full of crap.
To be fair, I would have not thought that that's where this was going, so
No.
that was a surprise.
It was
so
actually a surprise.
Don't take that away.
No,
I'm
it's
just
more
saying,
like,
oh, seriously, the Maker.
The
Maker.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, basically, Carnage is excited because he's going to extract the codex from Banner, who has now had Venom, and is going to take the symbiote away from Hulk, who, of course, abandoned Brock to go for a stronger host.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah, nice job, symbiote, you idiot. But yeah, so Carnage is doing that while Brock is being inspired by watching the other, like, consciousness regained heroes engaging with Carnage and the bad guys or the Carnage hordes.
Yeah.
And so Brock realizes that it's not going to work. They're not going to succeed. He busts open the Codex collection jar thing.
Yeah, and a really kind of cool.
The whole sequence is actually really well executed.
The sequence is excellently executed, but that part in particular is really great because they're doing this echoing of Peter Parker standing against Norman Osborn Carnage with similar motions to what Brock is doing, as though Brock really has taken inspiration from Spider-Man. We hear him say that earlier in his thoughts, and now we see him echoing it in his actions.
Right.
It's that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So essentially, Brock accepts all these codices that have not only absorbed, they've absorbed the characteristics or strengths of their original hosts, and so Brock basically takes their, strength and inspiration and, brings it into his own and becomes this kind of stronger kind of Legion Venom character and goes off after Carnage, who is, of course, taken on the Venom symbiote. And, so we're going to have a big old symbiote fight at the end. It was, if you had told me it's going to be a big, silly symbiote slap fight, I'd be like, pass. But the way it's written makes it really cool.
Yeah.
And there's just there's some kind of depth in this book that I wasn't expecting, and I think with a lesser writer it would have been cool looking and that's it. But with this, it's actually a character study. At the very least, the character is at the forefront alongside the action.
Yeah. Which
makes it a pickup for me. Check it out. Absolute Carnage is a cool series. Not reading a lot of the tie-ins. I read the Amazing Spider-Man tie-in because I'm already reading Amazing Spider-Man, but outside of that, I'm good. But I dig it. Jumping back into the Super Chats really quick.
Oh, sure.
Infamous Cavalier says, in 2017, you guys made a video called Marvel's Biggest Mistakes of 2017. Any chance a DC one for this year? Also, I love this channel. Thank you very much, man. I would love to make a video like that. I feel like DC's rearing up for the biggest mistake yet, and so I don't know if I want to make a video just now if they're going to make a huge one in February. So I want to wait. But it feels like it's just constant. It's also, I want to wait until Doomsday Clock comes out, because supposedly it's coming out soon, within the next 3 months. So again, you can't. I don't want to talk too much about All New All Different Marvel had already failed by the time we did that video. So I didn't want to necessarily talk about something that's happening as it's happening.
Yeah.
We could make a whole separate video just talking about Doomsday Clock and speculating about that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. I don't want to turn that into a video.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. Thank you so much. Jack O'Connell says, the real question is if Cyclops and Wolverine are sleeping together, all their bedrooms are connected. Love the channel. Thank you very much, Jack. Yeah, good question. We'll get to that X-Men #1 conversation in a minute. Sadal Thani says, hello, glad I got to catch the stream. We're glad to catch you, man. Thank you very much for joining us. And Cortland Ellis says, greetings.
And greetings to you as well.
Salutations to you too, man.
Oh, you said salutations. That was way better.
Thank you. So yeah, jumping back in, I read Justice League #34 from Scott Snyder and James Tynion, Tynan, the fourth, with art by Ray Redondo and Howard Porter. This is the I don't know how many more issues are left of this arc, but it's the
right, because
it's the Doom
this is coming
thing.
to an end, right? Like he's leaving this book.
Well, he's leaving soon, but not like tomorrow. You know, like he's got to wrap up this thing, and he's working on some more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, if I could say, you know how like if you know this channel, you know me. You know, I make a little like joke about how if you read a Scott Snyder book, you know there's going to be a big, long, boring history lesson that punctuates the overall story that's happening in the present, and that it somehow highlights or echoes the theme or the story and where it's going. Usually telegraphs how it's going to end in the very beginning. He has a new trope, and that trope is building up things so that it would have a satisfying conclusion, and then artificially pulling the rug out from under it so that he can keep the story going a little longer. That is something that he's been doing a lot of lately, and it is there's no change in this issue. There's a really fun, huge, like epic book here where the Justice League across time and the multiverse, I guess, have banded together, thematically speaking, not literally, physically, but like with all their different teams. They got all their different pieces. They're going to bring them together. They're going to do the Care Bear stare. Even the Anti-Monitor, who is now Mobius, who has relinquished this Anti-Monitordom, is on board. We get this like these amazing splash pages that I've seen in Dark Knight's Metal and other Scott Snyder books that are like really cool, objectively speaking, but you know, they have diminishing returns if you keep doing them. All throughout this issue, it really tense, nail-biting, until you get to like the halfway point and you realize there's no way that they're going to win at the end of this. And then they don't, but like there's another couple of issues left, so how are they going to pull this off? And if I believed that there was going to be a really satisfying conclusion, I'd be like, wow, if this almost worked and it was almost the ending, can you imagine how they're going to really pull it together at the end? But fool me once, shame on you. You know what I mean? So, it was a really fun read. So if you're looking to just be on the ride and enjoy Justice League for what it is, I highly recommend it because it is very much a ride.
Okay.
But
I like that image of Vandal Savage like pointing at us like, I want you.
Yeah. He's not recruiting anybody. He is actually they want him to build a time machine in this. But it's very fun. Okay. But I'm like, come on. Like, yeah. You know, I get that you have this really cool story. And I get that you really want to stretch it out. But you're a storyteller. You'll have other stories to tell. Tell this one and make it feel satisfying. And maybe that's just my frustration being too invested in the story. I'm like, no, it should have ended here. But then again, Dark Knight's Metal did the same thing. So anyway, it's a pretty fun story. Again, if you like the ride, you're gonna like this issue. If you're looking for a conclusion, wait until the next one, I guess, or the next three. Okay. Grievous just jumps in and says, just pop in and say hi. Been up to since 6 a.m. Just got off my first shift of my new job.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. We are. I'm going to go to sleep forever.
Or at least until you have to go back to the job.
Yeah. But get some rest, man. What else you got?
Okay. So let's head over and chat about some Boom Studio titles.
Ooh.
Let's chat about Something is Killing the Children.
Why not? This is a breakout surprise book. I know that at New York Comic Con, it was everywhere. After one issue. Yeah, one issue. What issue is this?
This is issue 2.
2.
This is issue 2. I'm not gonna lie. As I was starting to read it, I was like, what if it's not good?
No, yeah, I'm all in on the first issue.
Yeah.
You know what? Not since Witches have I seen that level of enthusiasm from like collectively Witches and Saga, and I guess Something's Killing the Children.
Yeah.
Which, hey, what the hell, man? Like 2 syllables, not 20.
Yeah.
No. Notice the theme here.
No.
But yeah, so.
It's great.
Yay! Good.
It's great. The end.
You were worried. It's great.
No, it's really great. It develops a lot more of the overall story, a little bit more into the characters. Obviously, Erica Slaughter, who is the masked
Monster Hunter.
blonde monster hunter that we met in the last issue.
Yeah.
We get a little more into her, but we're obviously not getting too much. We're going to be learning more about her as we go.
Right.
We do get a crucial part of what is happening here, in which we meet a young man. I think his name's Tommy. I'm not sure. Who is his sister is missing, and he works for the Applebeans, and
Fair enough.
oh, James. His name's James.
Oh, okay.
No, it is Tommy. Sorry, James is the kid. Tommy's the older guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his mom wants him to go put out flyers and stuff like that. He's a manager there, but
Okay.
he's like, everyone's very uncomfortable with that. Like, we have to stop doing that for right now. Basically, he's like, look, I'm still holding out hope, but let's be honest. With everything that's been going on, Erica recounts to James, the young man from the other one, from the last issue, whose friends were all killed basically in front of him. Who he couldn't remember.
Right.
Or he remember, but he couldn't quite understand how to tell them about it.
No, of course.
And they're kind of working together. So they go to the Applebeans. She basically rents a booth and says I'm gonna pay you $50 a day in cash off the table. I will order food and drink, and I will tip. Well, just leave me alone.
Okay.
And so they roll out a map, and she shows the fact that there are not only his 3 friends, there are 6 other kids who have died in that area, and there's a total of I think several other kids missing as well. So it's a real problem.
Yeah.
So essentially, we find out through Tommy early on in the issue, he hears something this noise, and he looks up, and he's like, hello? And is anyone there? And we see this horror standing in front of him.
Right.
I'm guessing adults can't see it.
Oh, that's great.
I'm like, that's cool. That's very Stephen King, It.
Mm-hmm.
The question of, can they see it? Are they ignoring it?
Right.
I'm guessing they can't see it. And Erica can. She's got them crazy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
She's got the crazy eyes going on there. But she's either part of it or whatever. She has a stuffed octopus that she talks to. We later on see something come out of it.
Oh, no.
Vaguely ghostly and or alien. I'm
Okay,
not
cool.
sure. So there's something way more to this and to her than they're telling us. But the story is tight. It is tight.
Nice.
So there you go. Something is killing the children. It's a high recommend for me for the fact that it's an amazing story. It's told in a way. I'm not saying it's that Hickman level of intricacies. And,
no, it doesn't have. Not everything has to be.
But that level of the mystery, the each issue you're okay, wait, we just learned a little bit more, but I have so many more questions by the end of it.
Sure.
I legitimately cannot wait to get a fuller understanding of the characters and the world that these individuals live in. I'm just excited. I'm excited overall, and the art is it's cool.
Yeah.
It's a little off,
right?
But
not
broke. But I was gonna say in the right way.
Yeah.
It's off in that right way where it's it's a little uncomfortable at times. So it's cool. I dig it.
I'm gonna share a little bit of it just for your
yeah.
own
No, please do. Yeah, them crazy eyes.
Yeah.
Them crazy eyes. That thing's really creepy, and I look forward to Boom making a plush of it.
I fully expect that to happen, since I don't think it's here on the set, but you have the mask from that game.
I do.
From that comic.
I do. I should have brought it. Why didn't I wear it? What's the matter with me?
Yeah. So I also want to mention this book because everyone's been talking to me about it because I'm a big old school Elseworlds fan.
You are.
Based also on the name of our other podcast, but
what?
Yeah. They made a book called Tales of the Dark Multiverse, and this first issue is Batman Nightfall. It's just and here's the thing, it's not Elseworlds at all.
What?
It is What If. It is DC's What If. There is no
But isn't Elseworlds to some degree a what if?
Straight up, no. Elseworlds is this premise. opens with the premise. It's a story, beginning, middle, and end. It's why Kingdom Come works as an Elseworld story. Why Dark Knight Returns works as an Elseworld story.
All right.
Like why Gotham by Gaslight works as an Elseworld story.
I would say though that like Gotham by Gaslight is like, what if Batman happened in a
Yeah,
Victorian
sure.
era?
And that's how you pitch that idea. Here's how it's exactly like What If. Because so this issue's written by Scott Snyder and Kyle Higgins with art by Javier Fernandez. So it's like a mainstream comic, which is cool and smart.
Okay.
So every What If opens with the Watcher saying like,
Oh, no.
I guard all these different possibilities and all these different multiverses. Yeah, there's a Watcher who watches the dark multiverse. Of course, no DC Comics in 2019 is complete without a reference to the Batman Who Laughs, who is another character they refer to in this series. But tell me if you don't get Watcher vibes from this character named Tempest Fugonaut, who talks about how there's this crisis coming, which of course Scott Snyder's obviously going to be writing since he's leaving Justice League and has been teasing all this stuff.
Yeah.
There's a crisis coming, and Tempest is searching the dark multiverse for a hero who might be able to deliver them from the crisis.
You know
and
who
so
that kind of looks like?
the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't want it to look too much like the Watcher because we're already ripping off the Watcher. So let's make it look like the Living Tribunal.
I mean, it's just getting those vibes.
Oh, I know,
Getting
big
those,
time.
Like getting those Living Tribunal vibes.
Yes. So the premise of the Tales from the Dark Multiverse is that Tempest is looking for a hero to save them from the crisis event that they're working on that's coming up that will usher in 5G.
And it'll be the Gordon who guffaws.
Probably.
No, I'm done.
With all of the laughter.
I'm done with the laughter.
I know.
Like,
anyway, but the premise is useless and it's stupid, and it's just a framework to say, lol, we're ripping off this premise, but also here is What If Nightfall. So like, it's Nightfall. Same thing as before. Bane breaks Batman's back. Jean-Paul Valley takes over as Batman, but also, I didn't really read Nightfall recently. So anyway, what if Jean-Paul killed Batman? Like, what if Batman gets better? He goes to fight Azrael, kind of like at the end of Night's End, but he kills Batman instead, or it looks like he kills him because he stabs him through the chest and then laughs at him.
No, but it's okay. He got better.
He does not get better, but he does stay alive. Anyway, the premise is Jean-Paul Valley takes over the mantle of Batman, and then 30 years later, we cut to the story. And the story is that Jean-Paul has essentially controlled Gotham. The world is in chaos, but Gotham's under control, and of course, being protected by Jean-Paul Valley Batman, who is still 30 years later operating as this kind of Saint Dumas-inspired Azrael Batman.
Right. Where is all the Jean-Paul Valley coming from?
Right?
Out of DC right now.
Yeah, I know. Nostalgia for the most part.
I guess, but I'm like,
yeah, I know. By the way, if you're interested in commemorating your love of Jean-Paul Valley, there's a action figure in the style of the animated series, which he never appeared in. It's coming out soon. And if you watch back issues this week, I think we're doing the Jean-Paul Valley Batman story. So there's a lot of Jean-Paul happening. Anyway, the story is basically that Jean-Paul has been keeping Wayne in Wayne Tower as a kind of robot skeleton guy.
he looks like the new RoboCop.
Yes, he does. Which is the only good scene in that movie. But yeah, basically the idea here is that Jean-Paul Valley has gotten control, but he doesn't have Bruce Wayne's admission that he failed.
Why is his neck so long?
Right? Why? Oh, so that he can talk to him. It telescopes. His neck does.
Well, he's like a meerkat. He's like,
yeah. He's got your attention. Anyway, so Penguin is working against Gotham. Azrael is disappointed in him, so he goes to kill him along with his acolytes.
He goes to tell him that I'm not angry at you.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
Also, blah, you're dead. Anyway, the story is that you look at this universe where, like, Jean-Paul Valley's in charge. He has Robins, but they're not Robins. Obviously, they're acolytes, and he's got a couple of them. So he's got, like, his own Bat family, and the other Robins who didn't die, like, went to ground and created a human resistance or a Gotham resistance, and they coordinate their resistance and their attack, which is, of course, headed up by the son of Bane, who we don't, he's not from anything. He's created for this. And Talia al Ghul, who work together to reclaim Gotham and free Batman. Except, of course, Batman is nothing but a torso, so they go collect his torso, and then basically they're like, we can give you, like, nanobats that will make you whole again, and because we need to free you, if we free Gotham, we need to have you come out.
Are
because
they bloodshotting him?
They're bloodshotting him, yeah. I mean, basically, yeah.
It's
by
just
the way,
on my mind right now.
Bane's son has, like, genetic venom. Like, Bane used so much venom that it changed his whole genetic code so that when he had a son, that son could, like, call upon venom and become big. It's just a bunch of, like, fun, hey, look at these neat versions of characters that we could call upon in the future.
Sure.
The design in this book is a lot of fun. The world building is really on point. The concept itself is, something you'd imagine is kind of, like, tired, but is actually not a bad one at all. I really like it. Jean-Paul Valley is operating 35 years later or 30 years later because he himself is desperate he's connected to Venom.
Right.
Sorry, yeah, it's actually Shiva, not Talia. And because Lady Shiva, trained Batman when he broke his back to, like, walk again, so she's back.
I would have bought Talia because
I know,
she's,
it actually
like,
made more sense.
Totally, like, she's all about that.
Yeah. So anyway, they go.
I'm surprised it's not the Court of Owls.
I know. It could be really, like, there could be a number of reasons.
Like the Court of Owls are like, hey.
Yeah,
I'm not feeling what you're doing here, Jean-Paul. We've made an error.
I know. I will say, like, I think that for this to be a Elseworlds / What If book, it's a strong one. Like, it's fun and it's indulgent and it plays with the convention, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to be, 1-to-1, a legitimate following of the path if it really did do that. If it was like, what if this really happened? Okay, I'm going to talk to Chuck Dixon and we're going to work together and Denny O'Neil and we're going to figure it out. Like, no. He just wants to tell this story with a bunch of nonsense. And that's just what this doctor ordered. Like,
sure.
Anyway, the whole thing is, so Batman can become like a swarm of bats from his nanobats. And for no reason except that oh yeah, that's right, this is the dark multiverse. Like, the good prevails, they defeat Azrael Batman, and then our Batman, who's now like a nanobot monster, like, kills everybody, and then, like, takes Gotham for himself, and, like, Tempest is like, I looked for heroes, but I'll find none here.
I also read Batman Red Reign and the ones that came after that.
Yeah.
Because remember when Batman gets bitten by a vampire, becomes a vampire, and then ends up killing everybody?
Yeah.
That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah. The art's really great. And like I said, like, it's a lot of fun. I will say, what's it called? Bane's son gets the drop on Azrael using his old 90s Azrael gauntlet. You forgot the fact that it's only 4 fingers. It's a very, very nerdy detail, but it's if you like Azrael, it looks like a hockey glove.
Right.
5 fingers means you don't care, you're not paying attention. Anyway, so it's a sad ending, or it's a bad ending, or whatever. It's really neat and fun, and it, like, because it's written by Kyle Higgins and Scott Snyder, like, it's so competently executed that, like, even though it's playing with all the terrible ideas that come out of a, like, What If comic, or the one-dimensional concepts that come from an Elseworlds comic, it's a marriage of those, but still doesn't wind up being pedantic. It's just kind of like, what?
Okay.
That's what it turns into. The next issue is Death of Superman. and they're going to keep doing it where it's like we're going to take these tentpole major like
Is
events.
Snyder writing all of them?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's other people.
Okay.
But it's a lot of it's fun. I enjoyed it while I was reading it until it got to the ending where I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, you forgot what premise this is, and then they changed the ending.
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
I would not have picked it up personally.
I definitely would have, but it's.
But that's me.
Know, but it's like meh. You know, it's not fantastic.
Okay.
Comics Misexplained says, thanks for taking the time out of your day to hang with me yesterday. It was so awesome meeting you both. Thanks a lot, man. It was great seeing you.
Yeah.
Can we do it again sometime? Sure, why not? Next time you're in town. Mr. Supertastic says, the Vision back issues was interesting. I think it's the first time I saw you geeking out so clearly and sounded super excited. With New Frontier, their prestige books are much darker than these prestige books are much more dark than I imagined. Yeah. Yeah. If you haven't watched Vision, check it out. It's a really good episode.
Yes.
Just Ray Day says, love you guys. Just showing some support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Price 8040, is it me or Snyder's Batman not interesting anymore? Also, which is better pair, Scott and Jean or Scott and Emma? No, it's not just you and Scott and Emma.
I also see Scott and Emma. Like, there is something to be said about Scott and Jean.
There's something classic about it, but there's
Very
something
classic.
also really one-dimensional and boring about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just, there's something interesting about the Scott and Emma thing.
They had been together for like almost 20 years in the comics, and they never really went anywhere with it. Besides, like, everywhere, or they went everywhere with it, and they've explored every option. Like, they had time babies, they've had regular babies, like, they've had clones. No, like, you've done it all.
You have time babies. There's no going back.
And Moon Knight 32 says, just want to send some money to my favorite YouTube channel, and thank you for the amazing content. Thank you very much, man. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being so supportive. We really appreciate it.
There's only one more book.
There's only one more book before the next. Yeah, in the way of this title.
X-Men 1, and that's Once and Future, also by Boom Studios, by Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora.
Yep.
Damn, this book is good.
Yeah.
This book is so good and so much fun. And just seriously, like, if you're just looking for like a clever action movie that's like British, go check this out. It's just such a good book. It's such a good looking book. I love Dan Mora's art in Klaus. I love Dan Mora's art even more in this.
Definitely.
He is better here, in my opinion.
Wow. Well, I mean, it was a while ago.
It was a while ago.
He's just gotten better.
You can just see how much fun that everybody's having in this book. You can feel the positive energy from it. I love the characters in this book. I love where the story is going.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, something is killing children. Monster hunting blonde girl dealing with creepy stuff in the woods and other crazy stuff. This is monster hunting grandma dealing with Arthurian lore.
Right.
And she is just like, she has her sassy pants on every day and has probably had them on for her entire life. I want to be her. Or I want to at least have my grandmother be her as well. That'd be fine. Our duo, you know.
Yeah, grandson, grandma, yeah.
Managed to get away from Arthur and his knights. The recently resurrected Arthur and his knights.
Yes.
He opens fire, obviously.
Right.
And she's like, nicely done. Like, I'm actually kind of impressed. You didn't do that whole, like, is the safety on thing. Like,
yeah.
They start to run away. She falls behind a little bit. He goes back to get her.
Right.
She's like, oh, bless you. She throws a bomb at them. Triggering it. It's got all sorts of crazy stuff in it, like garlic and, you know, sulfur and all this stuff in there that might deal with monsters. She's like, it'll slow them down, but we gotta find a historian. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because the historian she used to work with has long passed, and so they need a new one. He's just like, I actually know one. I was on a date with this girl.
Yeah.
And she is a historian. He's like, perfect. They go to her house. The woman opens the door. She's like, hey.
Oh, jeez.
Grandma immediately, like, pulls out her gun, and she's like, what? And, like, grandson's like, hey.
Hey, this is cool. It's just my grandma.
It's cool. No, it's just she probably won't shoot you.
Right.
I mean, okay, she shot me, but, like, we're family. So,
Yeah,
like,
so
I don't
it's
think
cool.
she's gonna shoot you, because that wouldn't be very polite. They go to these archives where they find a box. Inside the box is another box, and in that box is the information that they need. Is a cricket. And they smash it with a hammer. There's a note in there that says, like whoever you are, if you're reading this, trust the person who brought you here. Trust them implicitly. They know what's going on. You have to help them. It's that kind of thing. And she was like, okay, I'm in. This woman is very knowledgeable. She actually knows a lot about lore. She knows a lot about myth and stuff like that. It works out well. Gran likes her. She digs her.
Yeah.
They end up going to the Baths, Bath Abbey.
Okay.
Where it's revealed that King. Let's see, who is this here? I don't know. One of somebody who I don't remember, obviously, and is not, King Edgar. Was crowned king, was coronated there, and not, where they normally would. And so, like, it has power, it has meaning. Like, the places where kings were coronated have power and are connected.
That's such an English concept.
Right, that's so cool. I was like, that's cool! So they go there. There's always like crazy ghosts flying around, and it's just such a beautiful.
Who doesn't like
page.
crazy ghosts? Yeah,
I love crazy ghosts.
Yeah,
but like the page itself is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
The girl they brought along immediately freaks out. She's just like, "It's all real."
Oh no, ghosts!
Yeah, and she's like,
you gotta warn. You can't just throw someone in the ghost end of the pool.
Well, Grant's been dealing with this forever. She's just like, just accept it. Whatever, everybody get over it.
Right.
You're acting like Duncan here. She's like, it's not that they're real. It's true.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yes. Yeah.
Young lady. So the girl's like, okay, what do I do? How do I help out? And Grant's like, you just keep this candle lit. Just stay here and keep this candle lit. She's like, how is that helping anything? And she asks her if she knows the story of Theseus in the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
And like Duncan's like, no. Girl's like, yeah. And there's an amazing set of panels as well. Like, again, Dan Mora is just having a blast with these panels where it's Gran pointing at Duncan and just saying like Theseus, and then the next panel, you skipped it, is Gran pointing at the girl. Mm-hmm. It's just really captures the
I like the
motion.
perspective. Yeah, absolutely.
Of pointing at her being like the string.
Yes.
And that the idea is that, like, Theseus had a string into the labyrinth, and that's what this girl is. She's the tether, essentially.
Oh, okay.
And, so, like, as they're going in, the girl's like, who's the Minotaur in this? And she's just like, be careful with that. Like, people who adhere to stories too closely.
Don't skip ahead, honey.
Yeah, like, well, it's like, also, like, that's where the real danger is.
Yeah.
And so, like, they go in, they kind of, like, travel, like, realms there, open the door, they see Arthur and his lot having found a sword. Mm-hmm. And immediately Duncan's like, Excalibur.
Oh, Excalibur! She's like, shut up.
Which is the second time he's called a sword Excalibur. She's like, you gotta stop
jumping to conclusions.
That.
It's a sword and a stone. I jumped to the same conclusion.
Well, she's like, yeah, but Excalibur is owned by the Lady of the Lake, first of all, so you're wrong.
So it's not on a lake.
Which I was like, no, that's not Excalibur.
Yeah.
And then she mentions the fact that this Arthur appears to be Welsh, or mostly Welsh. And I'm
right,
like,
because
Arthur.
he wouldn't accept Saxon blood.
Well, yeah, but I'm also saying this Arthur. I was like, that's interesting.
Okay.
And so, like, she's like, just stick with this is the sword and the stone. She calls it a name. She's like, it could be this sword. It might be sword. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of magic swords out there. This is not Excalibur either.
Right.
He draws it. He gets, like, extra cool looking. And then that chick who was working with him, what's her name again? I want to call her Missy, but that's just because that's what she refers to her when she's like that. She's the one.
What Grandma calls her.
Elaine is there, and she brings forth Galahad. Oh. I was like, oh, Galahad's actually alive. I thought he was dead. Nope, there's this young man, like, in full armor. Mm-hmm. Grant's like, oh, how much did that cost you? Like, she's whispering all this stuff. And she's just like, all right, well, we got to stop Galahad because Galahad's the one that finds the Grail, and, like, we can't have that happening.
Yeah.
Because basically they'll merge the two worlds, and, like, that's bad. So Gran's like, I have a solution. She's like, I need you to kneel down. I was like, is she gonna, like, knight him? What's happening? Like, what? She goes into a bag. Right. She pulls out a sniper rifle. She puts it on Duncan's shoulder and is like, don't move.
What? Grandma, no!
She's taking her shot. She's gonna take down Galahad. So we'll see what happens in the next issue.
How much of Western civilization has been dictated by this lady?
I don't know, and I don't care. I love her to death. I assume at some point, if we're following, like, the standard hero's journey, the Campbellian journey, that
she has to die.
She will die, but I'm hoping we're not, because I love her so much.
Yeah.
This book is just such a fun read. It's one of those books that you just have a good time with. It's fun to look at. It's a treat to read the dialogue on. Gillen himself said that, like, Gran's one of those folk where it's just easy to write for. Like, she just, like, these things happen. He's like, that's it. Yeah. Yep, there she is.
Right.
She's got great one-liners. Yeah.
Nice.
So check it out. The book is called Once and Future by Boom Studios. It's on its third issue. I highly recommend.
Yeah,
it.
go
back,
back.
grab them. It's
Nice.
on like issue 1 is like on like 6th, 7th printing, something
God.
like that of this book.
Yeah.
So a lot of folk are digging it. Go check it out.
Yeah. Silvery Cricket says something fairly interesting about the Scott and Emma relationship with Emma's complete devotion and the eagerness Scott will drop Emma for Jean. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That was always tragic. I like that.
Well,
that's why I liked Jean
It's like
being
it's
dead.
tragic, but it's also like here's the thing. Not any relationship. The Jean and Scott relationship, it's kind of unhealthy to some degree.
Yeah.
The Emma and Scott relationship, that's also kind of unhealthy because
Right.
what if what that's saying is that like Emma's devotion to him has to do with the fact that she knows that.
Yeah, she knows that he will eventually leave because she knows
or
that Jean will
like
eventually
there's
come back to
something
life.
attractive to the man she can't truly have.
Right.
And I'm like, is that healthy?
No.
I don't know.
Ben Bastian says, "Hey Sal, I have no clue how good City of Bane is. Do you? Also, how's Jay and Silent Bob reboot? Also, how you hope you guys are having an awesome day. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks.
We are having an awesome day.
Yeah.
City of Bane is whatever. You know, I'm reading it. I'm not reviewing it on the channel because I don't like Tom King's Batman, so I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to waste your time. You know what I'm going to say. I will say that Romita Jr.'s first issue on the story was better than the second issue on the story. It's just decompression. Like, all this stuff could have happened in the span of like 4 issues. And it's not like the entire run. I'm just saying, like, certainly Bane. But yeah. And Jay and Silent Bob reboot has a lot of heart. And he has something to say, but he's saying it without as much finesse as he had.
I agree, and I think it needed some different editing.
Yeah,
Some
another
different
pass.
Editing choices, maybe adding some scenes back in that were
That's the thing.
in the credits, unfortunately.
Yeah, in the credits there are a bunch of deleted scenes, not just outtakes, but actual deleted scenes. Or alternate takes or extended takes. And those enhanced the movie.
It really did. But like you said, there was actually some heart to it, and like I went into this not crazy excited, for being perfectly honest.
Sure.
And so maybe that helped too, but I had a good time.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Right. It was fun. It was better, it was better than the last one.
Yeah.
Mark Brewington says, just wanted to support y'all. Hello.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mark. Mr. Supertastic, I like how Grandma can't run and grandson has to carry her.
Yes.
Like the nods to mythology. This time they leaned a bit hard. I'm scared of Grandma dying.
Yeah, no, it's true. And like honestly, what I'd say about Once and Future, the story of the Arthurian lore and the lore surrounding that time period is very important to Kieran Gillen.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get a lot of that in here, but he does try to make it so that it's approachable for those of us who have a cursory knowledge of it, which I think is helpful. We're kind of falling in the Duncan role as opposed to Gran's role, which is like she knows quite a bit about it and the inside information on it. But there's also something a little meta about this one, because Gran mentions that, like, because when Duncan brings up the fact that he was on a date with a historian, he's like, isn't that coincidental, or like, isn't that convenient?
She's like, no, it is not.
No, she's like, the story has you. And like that, like early on, remember she mentioned that he was on an adventure. That's why the beast came for him. Like it was a call to action in a sense. And so like there's something meta about this as well, that like Gran accepts the fact that they are part of a story, a part of these tales, if you will, like you would find in Arthurian lore. So
that's nice. Cash Money in the Bank says, did either of you catch The Batman's Grave? I really dug it. Looking forward to the rest. I think we talked about it in the last episode.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
It's good. It's well executed. I'm not a big Brian Hitch fan.
You mentioned that. I didn't have as much of an issue with it, but yeah.
Silver Cricket says, I would like to see what if where Scott dumps everything for Jean after having a child with Emma. That'd be interesting. There's definitely
I'd like to see a what if where Scott's like, both of y'all?
Yeah, forget
Which
it.
I'm sure has happened.
I'm going for Dazzler. Dazzler be like, really? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Cool, thanks. X-Men #1.
Here
from
we go!
Hickman and Lionel Yu. I've heard it said.
Oh, is it really?
I watched Marvel do an interview or a thing, and they said Lionel.
Okay.
No, Lenil. I say Lionel. It's Lenil. Lenil Yu. This is the beginning of the dawn of X. It's like after all the Hoxes and Poxes, here it is.
We're here.
It's the first adventure of the X-Men, and it is like in linear fashion, kind of. It opens up with Scott getting his ruby quartz glasses from Professor X, and we cut to the present, and it's the X-Men doing their thing, actually going on like
they're on an adventure, and they're going to deal with orcas, which I appreciate because they
set that up, and then we kind of abandon it.
Well, not just that, but like they're treating it like the Star Wars extended universe, where it's like, yeah, you defeated this one branch of everything, but like it still exists.
Right. We didn't. Well, Hickman's like, I didn't just spend all that time coming up with Orcus for it to fall into the sun.
Like there's no way they would have had one facility with everyone on it.
Exactly. But there's a rescue mission above all else. They go to Orcus. We reveal a new villain for the X-Men. He's kind of like I don't know, like a Magneto super. What he is.
I'm not even sure if he's the secret head to it. I think he's just.
Yes, they did, but now there's another one. I
guess. I'm not sure. That I'd have to go back and see what they called the other thing.
Yeah.
Because maybe it wasn't that.
Right. But so they're going there, not a like de-evolutionizer, which like, Jesus Christ, Hickman, I get your message and your metaphors here. You want to talk about like, X-Men mutants being the next stage in evolution, and then humanity de-evolves to fight them. Like, yeah, I get it. But a bunch of apes attack them. It's the scientists who have changed themselves.
I saw
this panel
or
out
this
of context.
Page, yeah, and like I was like, I can't wait to read this book.
No, be careful. They're sure to be savvy. All these apes have PhDs, which I guess is like Scott making fun of them.
In bananas.
Yeah. But yeah. The other thing was, of course, like when Magneto joins the fray, he comes upon them like onto a prophet. Yeah. And he is just complete. Of course he's on board.
When he joins the fray, it's like, it's when
it's when they crack open the thing. Like,
yeah, when they get past.
No, it's when they first show up.
Oh, is it here? I thought it was later on when
I know,
they
but it's
find all
not.
the mutants.
Yeah,
well,
no.
The friends of whatever.
They find people, but like they don't find the people they're looking for.
Right.
But anyway, Magneto shows up and he's like, yeah, I'm in charge. Like, I am clearly going to be a problem in the future for this book.
Yeah.
Also, Polaris is the only child of Magneto now. They're still saying that like Scott or that Wanda and Pietro are bullshit.
Okay.
But yeah. They go and they open up these crates and they find characters who actually appeared during or were created during, I think, the Charles Soule run of X-Men. So that's kind of neat.
Including her?
Yes. Who is also, well, as I understand it though, she got a redesign.
Yeah, she looks like.
And so she looks like somebody else. I'm gonna pull her up and then you can make your observation.
I will. She looks like Crow from East of West.
Straight up, it's just Crow from East of West.
I mean, she's missing the face paint, but yeah, and like I love that design. I think Crow is one of the like most like striking character designs I've seen in a long while. It's just something about that like stark contrast, of course, between like the black and white imagery.
Yes,
fantastic, especially against such a colorful universe. Cool, very cool.
This is actually apropos because we talked about how. This issue, like all the other Hickman books, written specifically by Hickman, have a lot of like graphic information, extra stuff, new stuff you didn't know about.
Yeah.
Tiffany, you were looking through your old back issues and you found something interesting. I think we should share it.
And I'm sure everybody has already picked up on this too. It was just funny because literally it was right before New York Comic Con. We were looking for some issues to bring with us to get signatures and such, and I grabbed a bunch of stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. I never had the chance to finish reading another Hickman book called Black Monday Murders.
Yes.
I cracked it open just to kind of refresh myself, and what was I greeted by but a bunch of really stunningly designed graphic pages that had their own like demonology symbols that went along with it, and I was like, oh. I mean, like, I guess that's just kind of a Hickmanism.
It is identical.
It's not identical.
The mutant language, the Krakoan language looks just like the lettering.
It's similar. But I just thought that was interesting.
Look up the Black Monday Murders. And you decide for yourself. But hey, I guess the dude likes his conventions.
He likes his design, and I'm down.
No, it's true, and it serves a function. It's useful. By the way, this is not the first time in a mainstream Marvel comic he did it either. It's just that, it's really important and essential to this right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the X-Men rescue these kids and they bring them to Krakoa, and we get to see Krakoa in action. Moreover, for some reason, OBS just keeps crapping out on us. And the part where everybody's trying to watch. So yeah, So just refresh the feed if you're having an issue. But anyway, so
we also get some interesting conversation with Storm and Cyclops, where it's like Storm's tired.
Right, yeah, she mentions that she's like...
Yeah, she's kind of tired.
But she also doesn't want to stop.
Yeah, exactly. But I really thought that, like, that's also, like, where we see Magneto when they get back to Krakoa.
Oh,
like,
and he's like, hey!
Because everyone's chanting for Magneto, like, tell us how you, like, defeated them, and tell us how you saved everybody, like, do it.
Yeah.
And they're all like, uh-huh.
Magneto's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, and, like, Magneto actually wants to, like, follow the girl who, like, has, like, tachyon whatever, and they're like, that's not what we're here for.
No.
And, like, literally Scott calls on the fact of, like, the government of Krakoa and, like, how it's like, that's not what we're sent here for. And if you'd like to do that, you have to bring that up basically at the next, like, club meeting.
Right, yeah, naturally. We go back and meet up with Orcus, and we find out, you know, that their leader also wears a helmet that obscures their face.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. No, but, like...
Yeah, when they're doing their job, when they're really like working on it, they're wearing a face obscuring helmet that only covers up the top half of their head.
He's wearing just some really like dope sunglasses.
Yeah, but they hammer him.
Shades.
He actually was wearing pretty dope shades, but like they hammer home the whole theme of like this is where we're going with this. Like humanity will abandon evolution in favor of like technology, and we're gonna, you know, but we saw the future, we know where it's going.
Yeah.
But, all right. But we
also know that this timeline is supposed to be the one that avoids that.
Yeah.
And that's like teeing us up to like something that happens right at the end of this issue.
Right, exactly.
So like I get it. I get why he's bringing that up, because it's like, what if you didn't read those?
Yeah, no, it's true.
What if you didn't read Pox?
Right. So we find out that Cyclops picked the blue area on the moon.
Yeah, he's on the moon.
And that's where he wants to stay in Krakoa.
Yeah, that's where his house is.
And his house is full of Summers. We got Vulcan, the third Summers brother that, you know, was never supposed to be Vulcan. We have young Cable. We've got Jean. Alex. And the Starjammers. Dad's coming to visit.
Yeah, he's come to visit.
You know, Rachel Summers, I think, is there as well. And talks to Hepzibah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they have dinner. Things are going well. Corsair is, like, uneasy and uncomfortable because he's a human being.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well,
I'm your space dad, and I'm happy you're happy. But, like, all this us and them kind of shit, I'm them.
Yeah.
You know, son.
Yeah.
And you're all smiles right now.
But he's also, like, weirded out by the house, too. Like,
oh, yeah, of course. Well, because, like, it's my turn to, you know, you wash, I dry. No. The house, like, excretes this goo. And it was, you know, well, when it first tried to make us, it made us plates that, it ate the thing, and they all, no.
No,
the goo is a compromise.
This is the better choice here, everybody.
Yeah. But we find out, like, that Dr. Gregor might actually not be as dead as we all thought from the previous...
The guy... No. It's her husband who's, like, the tactician.
Right.
Like, that he...
Who blew himself up.
Well, I'm like, is that Nimrod? Are they hinting at this
that
is,
Nimrod is going to be, like, his consciousness or something? Well, anyway, the point is that, like, the doctor who is in charge of Orcus' husband sacrificed himself to kill the X-Men, or at least to stop them.
Yep.
And
he did kill them.
Well, no, when we saw that in the previous story. But she was distraught, and now it turns out she, like, after doing some nebulous science fiction-y looking stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have the whole thing. She says, she mentions the thing to Killian, the guy with the headgear, that she has figured out a way to bring her husband back from the dead.
Right.
And she wields this crystal or gem or
which is pink,
stone.
Which is why I go there. But, like, then again, like, it could just be a choice of color. It could have nothing to do with anything.
Right. It could be Nimrod. It could be an Infinity Stone. It could be
well, I thought
anything.
Nimrod because he is that white-pink combo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wasn't sure if that's what they were trying to get
Well, and
us
she
to.
is white. Like, she wears white as well. So we're definitely trying to evoke that imagery. Who knows?
But, like, I think more importantly, let's go back to my favorite graphic.
Oh, yes. Well, that would be the layout of the Summers house.
Yeah, well, because it's funny. I read this today, and I got to the Summers house, and I was like, that's cool. That's neat. That's fun. And then I'm, like, reading through all the rooms and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's the living area. That's the kitchen. Neat, whatever.
Yeah.
My brain just went, Wolverine. Why does Wolverine have a room?
Well, and that's
where it all started.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. And I looked at the rooms around him, and I was like, wait, Scott and Jean's rooms are there. And then I looked at the map and I'm like,
Wait,
and they're all connected for some reason.
Yeah,
but,
all these
but
rooms
the other
are separate.
Rooms aren't.
All the rooms here are separate. Then whose room's here in 12? That's Jean's room.
It's Jean. Jean separates Scott and Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine's room is here. Scott's room is here. They're all connected. Why? What's going on? Maybe that beer isn't just a beer, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe Scott and Jean and Wolverine are, like, together, or maybe at the very least they're sharing Jean. Who knows?
I don't know.
All I do know is Hickman has said on Twitter that a collection of crows is called a murder. A collection of mutants is called an orgy.
There you go.
According to him.
There you go. But yeah, I got to make my fun little...
Yeah. But like, what the hell? What is that? What are you doing? And of course with like, what? And here's the thing. As like an old school X-Men fan, I never really like got the whole Jean Wolverine thing. Like, for me, I always knew that like Wolverine liked Jean, but I didn't really get the impression that Jean was really interested in Wolverine. But then I was thinking about this. Who'd they invoke when they were talking about, in the previous issue, they talked about how, like, the Phalanx only fears a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
Galactus, who's more of an Avengers-level threat, and the Phoenix.
Yeah.
What if this ain't Jean? What if...
The Phoenix loves all.
No, well, and Phoenix is more... Pick Wolverine. And,
maybe this is like part of the plan. They're like...
His body in a cocoon underwater, and it was found by Namor. We also referenced that Namor is involved with the X-Men, and we're teasing his role, and he doesn't play a direct role with us right now. Also, Jean is maybe sleeping with Wolverine based on the connection of their rooms. But if Wolverine and Jean are together, maybe that means that, like, Jean isn't really Jean, and Jean is Phoenix, or at the very least, entertaining Phoenix?
Yeah, and I guess, like, because it's interesting, because, like, Cyclops is talking about being a dad, and you got the kids there, but it's like Jean and Scott have separate rooms, and I'm like, so we're not...
Right, they're not together.
They're not together. They're like...
Well,
but we're all one big family, and... For some reason, Wolverine's
and
here.
Wolverine too.
Who wanted a steak rare, and that's just not happening. Sorry, man.
I'm sorry. I mean, listen, I sympathize Wolverine. I completely agree with you. Vulcan's a toolbox. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe it might not even be Jean. I'm thinking maybe it's Phoenix, and that the only one who knows that is like Phoenix and Moira. But you know, who knows?
Maybe that's why Wolverine was so happy when we first saw him.
Well, we know that's why, because. According to me on back issues, Wolverine's never gotten to sleep with Jean ever.
Right? He's like, all right. This is all new, all different Wolverine.
It's true. Yeah. Which is essentially like all new, all different Marvel, which is, it's all the same thing, you remember.
Except
but
happy,
a little bit different.
But
yeah, so with that, we're going to wrap things up by recommending some books that come out this week that we think you should pick up. The stream is being a little weird, so I'm going to try and wrap up really quickly.
Yes.
If you like 0 Hour, or you remember 0 Hour, it's 25 years old, and there's an anniversary omnibus hardcover coming out, which includes not only all the 0 Hour Crisis in Time books, but also includes Steel, Outsiders, Detective Comics, Batman, Superman, Man of Steel, and all the rest of them. Valor, Catwoman, Damage, Dark Stars, you name it, it's all in there. It's about $150 if you want to get the whole thing, if you like omnibuses. It's not a bad omnibus to find. It's a lot of fun. Also, Batman Superman #3 from Josh Williamson and David Marquez is out. This is part 3 of Who Are the Secret Six. We'll see how this book goes. I'm kind of on the fence on it. This will be the tipping point for me. Curse of the White Knight #4 comes out. 4 of 8. It's halfway done. Feels like it's like almost done. So that's not a good sign. I don't know. I love this book and I really enjoy it, but it feels like it should be wrapping up. I'm worried about it feeling too long. Before I move on, I want to jump into some super chats just to.
No, that's fine.
Because I want everybody to still be here while we're talking.
Yeah. You'll have to wait.
Vernon Harris says, I like how almost every alternate timeline Scott goes for Storm, so in my own headcanon, both Jean and Emma look at her as a threat. Oh, I like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Supermac Hickman loves helmets and making up symbols. Exact stuff in East to West too.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Watchmen show? Haven't watched it. I don't really. Yeah, I haven't watched The Watch.
I would like to see it. I know you're not, I guess, into it, but
no,
like,
yeah,
I want to check it out.
Even with on demand, you can watch it anytime. Cash Money in the Bank, one for the road. Thank you very much, Cash Money.
Thank you,
really
thank you,
appreciate
thank
it,
you.
Yeah, what else you got?
So my recommends for this coming week are going to be Valkyrie Jane Foster number 4 is coming out. We just wrapped up the Heimdall story, so we're moving on. King Thor number 2. This is the end of like Aaron's King Thor story.
Wow, really?
Yeah, no, we're coming to the end of it.
No shit.
I think it's 2 of 4.
Okay.
So, we're going to be halfway through it after this point. It all comes down to Thor versus Loki. You know, as you could imagine. I like that. Again, that's very, like, mythological.
Right.
The siblings fighting one another, godly siblings.
Well, Aaron's good on that, yeah.
Exactly. And I gotta give a shout out also to Justice League Dark number 16.
Nice.
Guys, hang on to Justice League Dark for as long as you can, because, let's be honest, James Tynion is going to be off to write Batman forever, or as long as he's going to be writing
probably
it
until
for.
at least issue 100.
Right. What? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, because then they're going to reboot everything.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yep.
Okay. No, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know.
There's no official word.
There's no official word either way, but a lot of people have been, like, questioning and, like, trying to hypothesize whether or not he's going to be able to keep up Justice League Dark as well as writing Batman.
Yeah.
So just hang on to it, treasure it, enjoy it. Because
right?
it's one of my favorite Justice League books. It's my favorite Justice League book.
Yeah.
I know there's also Odyssey, and other people also dig Justice League as it is, but Dark is my Justice League book, and I've been loving it. So there you go, guys.
There you go. We got some more recommendations, by the way. Amazing Spider-Man Full Circle is coming out. It's a mini, I guess. It's coming out from Nick Spencer, Chris Bocciolo, and Rod Rice, or Reese. I don't know anything about this. I just heard about it recently, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Seems neat, and it will be in continuity because Spencer's writing it, so it's not going to be like ignored or forgotten.
That's cool.
Marauders number 1 is coming out.
Yeah.
This is the next series from the X-Men rollout.
That cover's so ridiculous.
It's
but I
so
love
fun.
It.
By the way, Kitty's wearing a red thing, like a red kind of like kerchief. Could indicate maybe she's the Red Queen of the Hellfire Club. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think we'll find out in the preview. But read Marauders number 1. It's from Jerry Duggan.
I know. That's cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. The preview's out right now. You can actually read it read the first couple issues or pages. And finally, my biggest recommendation in this book, Spider-Man Life Story is coming out in trade paperback. You have to buy it and read it.
Yeah.
If you're a Chip Zdarsky fan, it's a must-have. If you're not sure and you're just a Spider-Man fan, it's a must-have. You got to read it.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, like, I know some folk were trade waiting. Now's your chance.
Yeah, now go get it.
Go grab it. Enjoy
Prove
the
that you want
conversation.
this because it's so great.
Yeah.
Life Story is amazing, and I'm going to go buy it on Wednesday, and we'll do it on back issues as soon as we can because I love that book, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah.
But, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us and watching this show. If you want to help us out, you can always subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment below, and join us over here on ComicPOP. We really appreciated you joining us. Thank you so much for our super chatters, for sponsoring today's episode, and we'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode. Hey, I'm going to be doing a giveaway next week from our friends over at Dynamite, so stick around for that episode in the future, and we'll see you guys then. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.